Alright, we're here with Klothys again. Bursley Bill has got me in a kind of go tall strategy mood, and I think I want to take another crack. This is like the fourth time maybe that I've tried at making Klothys a singular threat in your deck, and how we do that is getting devotion as fast as possible, but it's not like the fastest thing. I know it is at 7, right? Yeah, it's like a little harder than the other ones that are monocolored. But I like Klothys' abilities and stuff, and I'm willing to try it again. One of my favorite gods, really. So we're running the other gods too, because if we're devotion themed, I suppose that it would make sense to also play other creatures that are simply indestructible and ignore kind of the rest of their text box. This is probably not very good, but, well, it hasn't been good the last few times I tried it, but I'm going to try it again, really. There's another one of these that's at 4 mana for 4 devotion, but I couldn't really... It just didn't feel like I had room for 2 of them, and the other one is a lot worse than this one. This one at least kind of does something, so I'm running this one. Anything with like 3 or more devotion is just in here, even if I don't really have much to like synergize with it. You know, Unnatural Growth is, you know, a decent enough card. I'm not running Jaya Ballard, it's triple red. It just doesn't, like, none of the text on it seems super useful. If it was 4 mana, maybe, or even like 3, I might try it, but here, no. Mog Mob, just 3 devotion. You know, it's a new card from the new set. 3 devotion right there, right? It's another Chain Whirler. Kind of even similar in what it does, well, sort of. Anything that sort of sits in play that dodges a removal spell is in here. I don't have the red rune, actually. I might end up running the red rune. Yeah, I might end up putting that in here, but for now I don't have it. Mana dorks add devotion and mana. Both those things are pretty important. We kind of stop at essentially 4 mana, though, so I don't know how amazing the mana dorks are, but they also count for devotion. So, a bunch of equipment that also count for devotion. I'm not running any colorless equipment because it doesn't count for devotion. And that's it. We're trying to make Klothys big, scary, turn online pretty quickly with a bunch of random cards that normally don't see any play, like Living Twister, and try to beat someone to death with the old 4/5 that's hopefully significantly larger than that by the time I actually start swinging with it, with all the equipment and stuff. There's another cool card, was it Lion Umbra's kind of neat. It's pretty easy for me to have Klothys be considered modified, right, with all the equipments and other auras I'm running, and I like Vigilance, and I like Reach. Both of those are pretty good on an indestructible creature that is decently sized. So if we can dodge, like, a ton of bounce spells and, I guess, exile effects, mostly like Swords of Plowshares, this could be maybe decent, but I don't know. Edicts still exist. Hopefully we have other creatures in play, and we don't just get hosed by that, but yeah, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's see what it does. Alright, cool. My opponent doesn't want to play. I didn't expect that would ever happen against Klothys, but I don't know, maybe they... Mills a card, may play a land. Oh, okay, yeah, look at that. Built-in graveyard hate actually mattered. Okay, alright. I'll take it. Okay, Wilson Bear Comrade. I have never seen this before. So they're doing the red specialization. Double Strike, Reach, Trample, Ward 2. Alright, cool. Okay, we got some pretty fast devotion here. I like this. I like this. I don't have to cast Klothys next turn. Could go like here, and then I'm doing pretty good. Oh, looks like we're losing this. Fortunately, I don't really care about that. Need an untapped land. I guess I don't really need to deal more damage to myself, and I probably should not. I probably should not deal more damage to myself, given the what's happening right now. So we'll just play these. Like, my opponent's playing this, which makes me think they're going to make this big and scary really quickly. So. Alright. Specialized cost 4. I wonder if we're doing something similar. It looks like we actually are. Except my opponent can skip the devotion portion of this situation. Okay, both lands are tapped, which is really, 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 really bad. Zarkon is not what I'm looking for. Yeah, I really need it to, I need it to find what I need it there. I'm just going to swing because I highly doubt I'm going to end up blocking. Oh, never mind. I could have actually blocked here. Oh, wait. I'm not sure how this card... It's untapped. I think it's untapped. Yeah. Alright, never mind. That is notably not specializing. Yeah, I could have blocked. Probably would have been quite useful to do so as well. Okay, so Klothys itself isn't too exciting. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I play this specifically, then Klothys is online next turn. And that's probably the best thing I can do. Hopefully my whole opponent's turn is just specializing. And then we can hide behind Klothys would be ideal. Some things I'd still have to dodge, but like... I don't know. Of course. Why not? Well, at least I can't swing. So I can play this, and then it doesn't really do anything. This has Death Touch, I guess, but my opponent's commander is double striking Degeneracy, so that doesn't really matter. Yeah, doesn't matter. Part of being a streamer with you? I don't know. I like to make YouTube content. Probably a bot. Let's see. So if I play this, I don't have Devotion. I should probably double up on things. This has Ward 2, so I could technically fight my opponent's commander. It will kill my creature, but, like, that's probably fine? I feel like there's no way this isn't right. Like, getting this thing off, and yeah, I feel like this is the right thing to do. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. But I like the idea of knocking that enchantment off. My opponent has drawn nothing but mana dorks. Whatever. Okay, a land was very good. Really wish these two counters were on Klothys. I really do. Oh, I guess I didn't really need a land as bad as I thought. So, let's play this. Or we could just play this. We could play this. This kind of maybe masks my hand a little. Or at least it masks the next card, and I can't play a land anyways. I lose Devotion next turn. Wow. Wow. Alright, so it was actually right to get rid of this enchantment. Okay, another commander that I do a moderately good job at blocking. Borderline the best thing I could ask for here. So I guess I gotta keep it. I guess the penultimate thing would be like being on the play. This is probably a stomping ground matchup here. Without just, you know, dying to damage. And we have Swords to Plowshares. Of course. What do you know? It's a 1-mana target a creature spell. And it wasn't a, well, I don't know what else it was. But it clearly wants to target that. Alright, so I think I'll use this while it's alive to just cast this. Make my opponent maybe regret not killing it. Is this Assassin's Trophy? I highly doubt it's Abrupt Decay. I would love an Assassin's Trophy right now. It's not Bowmasters, they would have played it. Okay, that was weird. Opponent spent 20 years thinking and then didn't do anything. Of course, they have the perfect answer. Why not? Why not? So... this? Land on top? Land on top. It's also the good Devotion land. Look at that. The next card is something that comes way later and not super good against the white cards in their deck. But it's not a big deal. I am actually getting relevant devotion. And the Corsair drew me a card, so. This is not 4 for Nykthos, it'd only be 2. It's only a single color. At this point, swordsing Klothys actually isn't even that good. Really think they wanted to swords my Llanowar Elves, I really do. It's definitely a mistake in my opinion. Let's see. So I can play Klothys and then play other cards too, kind of. I'm always playing Klothys. I guess I'll just play Ronus thing. This is Devotion to 6, which is quite useful right now, because that means Klothys doesn't die this turn cycle, which is very nice, actually. I really want that swords out of the way. I don't know what else it could be. I mean, maybe Ephemerate? No, it was targetable when I was the only one with a creature. Its Path to Exile? Ooh, opponent. Oh no. You do not want to be playing that card, at least in my onions. You really don't want to be playing that card. Klothys also has, like, Graveyard Hate, which is kind of relevant if they, like, try to, you know, do something like that. Thalia can absolutely do stuff like that as well. So that's interesting. But there's nothing, like, in the graveyard that matters anyways on my opponent's side. I always think the pathways are MDFC lands. Okay, opponent gets immediate value. They should have not played their land first. That was a mistake. Of course, they're not punished. Why would they be? Unnatural Growth is basically all the devotion I'll kind of ever need. It's really nice. I would like to play this gate, but I really want to play value. So we can play this first, and then we'll have devotion to green for a lot, which lets me play Unnatural Growth, even in response to a removal spell. So this works. I have no idea the last time I actually got Nykthos value. I really couldn't tell you. I'm not going to play the Ancestral Mask. This is essentially the same without, you know, running into what could also be swords. This is a very slow player, dude. Very slow. Sacrifices an enchantment. Okay, I would have absolutely made me sacrifice the okay, I guess it didn't matter. Yeah, that's a little interesting. Okay. Little interesting there. It's worth the damage. I know the Corsair is good, but my opponent does get information off it. It's not just 100% free, right? I do like this both drawing a card thing, though. That's pretty nice. Makes sense to get rid of it, because they know I'm just going to kill it. What is this? Strana in Linvala. Okay, Felidar Retreat's very uncommon. I can't say I'm too worried about it. Well, maybe I am, I don't know. Maybe I am. This can only be blocked by one creature. It basically has to be blocked or they lose their stuff. I mean, they have the first strike Thalia there, so that actually doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's play you. Wow, my opponent knows all the cards in my hand. That is really bad. That is really bad. Not the worst thing, but it's kind of annoying. Let's play this. No, 1, 2, 3. I can't play both of these. Yeah, I would have had to tap differently. No big deal. I don't necessarily even need this right now. I mean, actually, I guess I could play it. I'm just dumb. Never mind. I don't even know if this is the best thing to play, because putting a snake in my thing is not that ideal. Okay, let's swing here. They chump, obviously. And now there's a problem with, like, land drops creating a bunch of tutus forever until I get trample or flying or something. I could run, this is an example of where maybe, whatever that red 6-mana artifact equipment is. I can't remember the name of it. Double Strike Trample would be very useful. Fortunately, neither of these creatures are super amazing to lose, but okay, that's kind of funny. I am getting 2 damage a turn as well. That's, you know, that's more than something. Let's maybe find something here. That does also not give trample, but it has a chance to give trample. It has a chance to give trample. So let's cast it. Probably just going to cast this as well right now. Oh, it's the wrong one. It's the wrong one. Dang it. Tragic. I can prevent attacks with this card, though, and that seems very useful. Okay, maybe I draw something? Oh, these snakes aren't as bad as I thought, actually. Okay, I didn't draw anything. Tragic. Let's put the counter here. I mean, this is basically already lethal. Let's just make another efficient creature. But, yeah, this works out. It looks hilarious. Can I swing with this? First strike, death touch. So not really. I can swing with both of these and lose one of them. Which I also don't really want to do, so. I could alpha strike, but again, I think I am favored as this game pans out. Like, the longer it goes, I think the better it is for me. Maybe that's not true. I am sort of in top deck mode, but my opponent cannot swing with Thalia, which means they're not drawing additional cards a turn. Other than this thing, I guess, actually. Which I kind of wish they had to use to block, and they didn't. This enters tapped. They can't use it to block, but they found a way to essentially have infinite blockers. So I just need to find a way to get trample. I need a way to get trample. I do have reach, so they cannot fly over me in the intermediate, which might be somewhat useful. This flipping into something kind of decent is nice as well. We do have a clock through the Klothys triggers repeatedly as well. We can just play this in plus. There's not really anything I'm interested in killing except maybe the Morbid Opportunist, which might be better than randomly plussing this. Getting rid of that Opportunist means they can't recur value as I swing every turn, and that's probably a good idea. I should probably kill this. Feels kind of bad, but, like, if I don't, it's like, Okay, I'd rather not shuffle away the snake in my graveyard. In the top of my library. Let's just put a counter here. But yeah, this makes it so they can't just block for free. I almost want to swing with something else, but I'd have to swing with 2 things. They block here, and all I did was get 4 more damage in. Or I swing here, and I get 11. Is this a swing with everything clause? I think it actually is. They block here, and then this, that, and that gets kind of blocked. I think this is sort of fine, but I do lose my 12-12. Maybe this isn't great. I don't know. It doesn't feel like I'm pulling that far ahead doing this, but I am getting rid of somewhat irrelevant creatures. Like, I don't feel too bad about losing what I just lost. I don't really have to block a bunch of things. We can keep this offline with our Klothys, which is nice. Sort of. They can do fetch lands at an awkward time for me, so I can't necessarily do that. Oh, and it doubles landfall triggers. Look at that. We just played this in Bristly Bill. Old Billy boy. We can hide and wait for a Chandra ultimate as well, but again, I really wanted my opponent to not draw repeatedly off this. I think that's more important. Alright, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. I can't kill Thalia. I'd rather not lose the Llanowar Elves, but yeah, okay, I guess in hindsight, yes, the more I'm thinking about it, keeping Chandra around is probably better than doing the alternative. I have to eat this land too. Well, it's at least a good idea to eat the land, which means I'm not dealing damage. Does that change anything? Not particularly. Red. Let's see, if I play this, I fight their Green Warden, but they still have blockers. Alright, I mean, I might as well. Might as well. I don't want them to double up the Felidar triggers if I don't have to. Can also push into my opponent's force the block and swing like this because the dragon is basically lethal. This forces 2 blocks. This forces 2 blocks here. Well, it forces at least one of them. They have to block the Klothys. Man, if Klothys had lifelink right now, oh, I'd be in heaven. One of our top few cards, I believe, is a snake, which just simply cycles if I keep it on top, and I don't know if the snake is better than, like, surveilling and shuffling right now, so I'll probably just surveil. Landfall enters the battlefield. Alright, so another landfall thing that induces tokens. A lot of blockers. Just looking for trample. Just looking for trample here. I will sacrifice my land. And I will find, or rather surveil. It's just better than something. I could also get this. This guarantees some kind of card. Maybe that's worth it, instead of like surveilling 2 lands or something. Get rid of that. Might as well make a giant second creature if I can help it. That, unfortunately, is not what I'm looking for. Is there anything worth killing with the minus? How many mountains do I actually control? 3? No, I control 4 mountains. So I can kill the... I'm gonna plus. I don't really care to kill the thing making 1/1s, and that would really be the only thing that's worth killing with the attack, so... Yep, they're always blocking. Doesn't matter what the attack looks like. Alright. They can keep sacking Thalia to find repeated creatures. Or just like drawing multiple cards a turn. Found another way to draw multiple cards. I can't seem to avoid it. Funny that. At least this one kills them, so they can't keep doing it. Klothys is still a moderately scary clock. I have all the gas I need. If I ever do draw the snake, it always has the draw card, so it's never like a totally dead draw, essentially. They did find a flyer, but again, I have reach. No big deal. Alright, we gained a boatload of life from the end of that saga. We are going to threaten a Koth ultimate. I think that's worth it. This is when a mountain enters the battlefield, so I don't want to play any more mountains. Let's swing at this now, as I think it's the most important, but again, they are always blocking. Doesn't matter what I swing at. 4 more turns, Klothys just kills them. What's the ultimate? Lose 8 life. Okay, so can be scary, right? Opponent dealt damage. So it, like, flat puts me to 8 life a turn on attacks, basically. Kind of annoying. They could suicide their Thalia, because I just blocked the Dren. I can't block 2 things with Klothys. That is a lot of landfall triggers. But they have to suicide attack into Koth right now, where they're almost just completely dead. I don't believe there's any very scary land. No, it's just more value. Fair enough. Oh boy. Need more trample. This doesn't necessarily work, so it looks like they're just desperate drawing. Yeah, just desperation draw. Fair enough. But they could have swung all into Koth to stop the emblem. I feel like that would have been very important. But maybe my opponent has a card that makes that not the case. They do not. Okay, so Koth basically kills my opponent. I can make it so they can't zero their thing there. And they somehow have to kill me this turn. Thalia is... No, I'm going to leave back a blocker. I mean, killing a 2-2 is not worth the attack here. Not worth the attack. I'll play this for no reason. This does not have the ability to ultimate. And they can't zero it, and they're dead to Klothys and a mountain land drop. I don't believe Primeval Titan can find anything. Alright, we did it. We did it. Wow. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, just an army of blockers, but we gained enough life where they could never just, like, mass attack, you know, Alpha Strike me to just, like, reverse, Uno reverse card kill me, which was really nice. Klothys stealing essentially 2 life a turn is what it's basically doing, is very useful in a gummed up board state like this, but there are some, you know, exile effects and things that could be a huge issue for us. I think really the only thing that was really bad this game was that one turn cycle where I swung with a bunch of things. I don't think I had to do that. Could have done a better job at defending my Chandra. But this game makes me feel like I also maybe want more sources of trample. So we'll look into that. But sweet game, nonetheless. Okay, I added Ember Cleave as the card I was thinking about earlier. It does cost 6 mana, so it could be a little awkward to try to, like, do something with this card. Like, oh, Klothys, I have 5 mana, and I swing, and then I cast it. Or, like, oh, I have 4 mana, and I swing. It's just kind of weird. It does count for devotion, though, kind of. It's just in an awkward way. I'm willing to try it, though. It was in here initially, I just didn't bother hitting the done button with it, because it just didn't feel right, but... The other notable one I added is Talons of Wildwood, because it's recurring, which I really, really like, and it gets trampled, so I don't lose this card forever, which I just kind of like. I also think Temur Battle Rage is worth it, even though it's kind of a one-off. It doesn't give devotion or anything. It's just out of nowhere, a boatload of damage could be very useful. So let's try that. Let's try that. Aragorn. Alright, so another shotgun-esque commander with better colors. No one drop, pretty sad. This is maybe decent. Devotion's pretty low. I'm on the draw as well. I don't think I can keep this. Maybe if I was against anything that wasn't this, I'd maybe keep this. Like, this is a fine hand, but it's not because my opponent is what they are. Whatever. I mean, I either win or I lose. It is what it is. Basically lose to a mana dork no matter what hand I keep anyways. Red-green. Can only be Stomping Ground. It is not Stomping Ground. Lucky us. Don't really want to sack this for 20 minutes. When do you draw? Power 3 or greater? Okay. Well, that's really, 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 really bad. I am going to regret a lot of my life right now that this was not in my hand turn 1. That is profoundly miserable. This wouldn't have obviously let me... Oh, no, it wouldn't let me cast it. Ugh. Okay, my opponent's playing that card. That's fun. I probably have to immediately kill Nadu, even if they're not like a Nadu deck. I think it just have to kill this. I don't know. Probably no choice. Oh, cool, my opponent has a wash away. At least that's a good thing to know about, although I'm not really concerned about it. Klothys entering the battlefield, to the extent of my opponent's knowledge, actually isn't a big deal. Hero of Precinct 1, wow. I also now have this. Sweet. Okay, so let's add some red. Let's play this. They cannot wash it away. Why wouldn't my opponent have just a better alternative? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Play this. Then I lose Chandra. I'm losing Chandra no matter what, actually. So just play this. I really wish I didn't have to lose Chandra right now. Playing this is so oh, wait a minute. I can play a land drop still. Okay. Galaxy Brain. Play this and this. Okay. Feel like I'm teetering on the edge here, but this is good. Killing the halfling or the Kyriad makes me lose my devotion, so I can no longer defend Chandra. That is notably not an Aragorn available land. Okay, so they found protection. Let's just eat Nadu, I guess. Doesn't really matter. We did find Trample, but we found it in kind of a weird way. So let's tap this for green, green. There. Then this. And then Rune of Might. I kind of don't want to cast this right now, because if I lose it feels kind of bad, but okay. We can start the beats with this idea, right? So I guess it makes sense. Can actually start to swing. I do have to actually kill my opponent, so I guess it makes sense. Now we can Alpha Strike Chandra. I can block the 1/1. It's not the most exciting, but something I can, in fact, do. I can also get rid of this whenever I want at this point, probably. I think I have enough devotion indefinitely. They did not give the token protection, which was totally free. So Aragorn blocking is maybe my opponent's idea here. Makes sense to me. I am one off of fight rigging actually mattering. Let's see if I can't circumvent that. Nope. Okay, so 4 counters, green creature, so I can play this and Nylea. And I don't believe I can swing, which is kind of tragic. Aragorn does a very good job at making me not be able to attack. That's a funny one. Kind of changes my idea. I only play 1 card. Kind of miserable. I think it's going to be Nylea. It's just a good blocker for what is essentially a massive out-of-nowhere shotgun blast to the face. And it eases up my mana for next turn as well. Fight rigging does not draw a card, which is really unfortunate. Or cast a free spell. Yeah, I don't really like anything else except maybe Death Touch, but we can do better than that, I think. Okay, let's go get a Surveil land, or a Gate. I guess I'll get a Surveil land here. It's not much I won't Surveil or keep. Now that's probably pretty good, actually. My opponent lost priority for the turn cycle, so maybe swinging makes sense. I actually like swinging. Yeah, they roped out, so they can't block. They lost priority. If they come back, I don't know. Okay, they actually did come back and then conceded anyways. They did take an additional 5 because they couldn't block with protection or whatever. But even if they didn't have that, I think I'm in an excellent spot with a second indestructible creature. Alright, well, I bet you my opponent has, like, Fatal Push or something. No, they don't have Fatal Push. Wow. Look at that. We do a very good job at making my opponent not play cards out of their graveyard, so this is pretty favorable for us. Famous last words. I need a red. Or rather, I want a red. Klothys can chew away at the graveyard. I could have played it last turn if I felt like it was super important, but I didn't. Currently nothing relevant in the graveyard. And we do have very easy devotion. Opponent apparently didn't have anything. Wow. That's odd. Not even a land? That's very odd. Alright. Play this. Go to combat. And then if they try to kill this in response to combat, I can, like, do other things. Killing the Twister makes it so I lose it. Oh, I guess I wanted to eat a land, huh? So they couldn't, Ah, I see what they did. I see what they did. Because this is going to leave combat. But unfortunately for them, they get punished by this. Because I get to play this. Now they don't have this ability, which is really huge for me. Now they can't get these lands back. I wonder if I wanted to eat a land, just to maybe avoid this a little. Fortunately, I didn't get punished, though. They definitely wanted to sacrifice that in response. Or, rather, just do it on their own turn and get a free block. So the combat trick worked, keeping devotion. Okay, this actually doesn't really matter, because unless you repeatedly deal with this, that's not really a big deal. Let's play this. Let's play this. Actually kind of worked out because I drew a card. Because I got to actually cast it as a creature. So we do a very good job at dodging sweepers as well, to a degree. Accolade of Herperterper. Mill 2, then a permanent from your graveyard to your hand. Alright, well there's only one real permanent, and that's the Aftermath thing, getting back a boatload of lands. Okay. Alright, an actual thing that's good to eat with Klothys for the first time this game. That's good. So go ahead and eat that. And then let's play this. And I guess this? Don't think I have to crack this land yet. I don't know. Maybe I can just do everything anyways. Let's get a green or a red. Probably a green. Yeah, let's see what's under this. Okay, nothing too exciting. Do we double block the Stomper? Reanimating these two cards doesn't really matter to me. Like, I don't care about these, so this probably favors me. It's just a favorable attack, I would think. Unless they have Farewell, and then it isn't, but this is not the Farewell kind of deck you would expect. But they get a lot of lands off of this Analyst, and I'm sure they won't mess it up this time. Let us consume something that could be a problem, like this. Yeah, let's eat that. Things I don't want my opponent to have access to is what I want to eat. Let's cycle this random devotion card. I love this card. I love this card so much. It makes me happy. I already did that. Okay. Let's do this. There's not much of a reason to make anything larger here. Guess we can put it here, because my opponent can't really block it. And swing. I can swing with anywhere else, too. They can't take the time to block it with their Analyst. And if they do, they sacrifice it anyways, so, like, I don't know. Yeah, they're just going to always do this. They get a ton of lands. Like, a ton of lands. But there's nothing in the graveyard that's a problem. And their whole deck is graveyard-centric. So, I'm going to hold on to the Goose. I don't think casting it matters. I'm just going to not cast it. Klothys, unfortunately, is not a one-turn clock. But again, my opponent doesn't have any relevant creatures in the graveyard. So Klothys is totally fine with it being cast. But it has to mutate, so they do need another card here. This deck is a lot of mid-rangey creatures and no massive scary thing. So I don't anticipate getting smashed by like a Ulamog or something. An Ulamog. Okay, yep. So this gives them a bunch of chump blockers, assuming that's what my opponent did this for. Because then they can mutate it. But again, they're not actually mutating anything that has relevant text on it. This does have lifelink, though. It actually does have lifelink. Okay. So they mill a bunch of cards. Hopefully it's not a multitude of scary... My opponent is running Farewell, and it was the next card. Wow. Okay. I am going to eat that Farewell, so they can't find a way to pick it up. Also, my opponent is dead on board, unless they have something completely disgusting, in which I don't know what that could be. Let's get rid of that. They go to 1. All of my creatures are lethal. And some of them you cannot block. I do not believe going to 6 saves them. Sure. I still think this is... Oh, maybe not anymore, actually. Okay. Yup. Yup. Yup, they take 1. Alright, yeah, never mind. Found a way out of this. Unfortunate. So let's play Goose now. Let's play this. I could have put them down to... Oh, wow, Gilded Goose would have killed them because it flew over everything. Oh, wow. Alright, casting Goose would have mattered. Never mind. This is funny, but I need spells to actually cast to do the pinging, and that doesn't feel like a good idea, so I'm just not going to do that. Let's just present a giant lethal threat in the air. And assume our opponent cannot do much about it. I mean, they can gain 5, so that's not even true. And I'm not going to block it, I don't think. Nothing in my opponent's graveyard is too big of a deal to get reanimated. I guess maybe this thing pay 10 life. Okay, they didn't even choose that. Yeah, I don't think I would have taken that either. So we're not at complete parity, but it's getting kind of close to parity with the 5/5 lifelinker. Okay, this shuffles their graveyard back in, which doesn't seem like a good idea given their strategy. I don't know. That's what my opponent chose to do. Of course. Gotta love that perfect removal. Wow, I think I'm actually going to lose this game. Crazy. It is Death Touch, so I'm not going to block it. Yeah, I think we're going to lose now. I mean, I'm drawing 2 cards a turn, but I don't know. Cinder Vines, does that change anything? I feel like it doesn't. So killing this is a good idea, right? Yeah. There's nothing else to eat. That makes sense to me, so. Cinder Vines does not feel that exciting. I can stop my opponent's attacks. I don't even know if that's... Is that what I want to do, really? Guess I'm playing this. There's no Cinder Vines target, right? Like, what does this do? Return a creature from your graveyard, so there is merit in doing that, but my opponent does have to find something for that to matter, and I feel like that's not worth the risk. Cinder Vines might be better later. I feel like it will be. I don't know. I can just eat this food. Might as well. And I can equip this rapier to this. So we have another 5 power creature. So they can't really swing back at me. Is that fine? Swinging is awkward. Swinging actually doesn't... It does have menace, but no, there's no real attack here, right? I don't think there's an attack here. I feel like there's no attack. I could be wrong. I don't think there is, though. Alright, don't mill an I win the game card, please. They did not mill an I win the game card. Lucky us. Okay. We got a lot of removal. Yeah, I don't think they can swing. Oh, wow, they actually do. Okay. When that dies, they get to reanimate 6 and this? I feel like that's... Like, why do I care about that? This feels like a... If I don't block, it's just bopping me for 5 a turn, and I'm not exactly dealing with that, so I might as well force my opponent to sort of commit to it again. They also didn't mill anything that wins immediately, again. Okay, maybe they Maybe the Great Henge is enough to make me concede. I think the Great Henge is it. I'm not sure I'm ever getting past this 5-5 lifelink death touch. I think I missed my chance to win with that Gilded Goose cast. I think that's what I had to do to win this game, so... Yeah, I had a win, and now I probably do not have a win. Okay, we can concede, I think. I don't know... There's not really much I could draw that gets me out of this here. Trample till end of turn doesn't really do anything. Yeah, alright, we're done. We're done. Opponent has too much in play. I can't do anything. There's too much sitting in play. Unfortunate. I think I did miss lethal, though. I think I genuinely did miss lethal with the Gilded Goose. Off the treasure token, casting it, equipping it next turn. The ping here. Yeah, alright. Unfortunate. Alright, I'm here. I'm recording that outro a little bit later. So... This deck was really cool. It's probably the best version of the quote-unquote go tall kind of thing I've done with Klothys, and I obviously keep trying to do this. It's a dream of mine to just have this unstoppable 4-5, which is funny. I really like the graveyard value, and every time it comes up, it usually is quite impactful. There are some strategies where that's not enough, but it's still decent. It's another way to deal damage to your opponent that isn't swinging at their face. It's everything about Klothys is what I like. I could just see myself playing this as a blue-white control payoff instead of like, well, I guess Flage is what you do now in like Modern. But I really like Klothys, and any excuse to try it, I'm sending it. And I like this. It was very easy to get Devotion, so that was not a problem. It was pretty easy to kind of cast my spells even with all of the mana colors. It felt kind of fine. I know all the mana dorks except a few of them only do green, so it doesn't help you with the triple red cards, but for the most part it wasn't a big deal. The two, or the red green cards, like the 4 mana thing, it wasn't really worth it. Sometimes it just sat there as a 5-5, like a devotion stick. I'm losing my voice. Devotion stick, and I don't really like that. I like it to at least sort of do something if it's going to cost more than 3 mana. I mean, even Mogmob does something, right? It's like a sorcery speed lightning bolt. Never really upset with that, I guess. But at 3 mana, it's a little steep. But it's devotion if it just sits there. But once you start to get to 4 mana, it starts to feel like it needs to actually play the game and not just be a devotion stick. So I kind of accommodated that. The land count was maybe a little bit low, but again, the curve realistically stops at 3, right? Like, it really does feel like it stops at 3. If you have any mana dork, you only need like 3 more lands, and then you can basically cast everything. This usually doesn't cost 6, right? I really liked Unnatural Growth. This is a cool card. I don't really ever get to play it, especially in a strategy that like goes tall. It definitely likes to also go wide. I guess both are totally reasonable with this card. The quad devotion is very satisfying, though. I'm not gonna lie, really satisfying. I like all the triple stuff. It's kind of cool to see. Nykthos is kind of an ironic card because while it's cool to have Nykthos and have it matter, it also isn't very cool when that, like, the mana you're ramping into isn't casting 10 drops. I'm just casting like another 4-drop, or maybe I cast 2 spells in the same turn. And in the meantime, it doesn't actually help you cast any of your triple colored cards, and sometimes even your double colored cards, and that's not really good. Right, that's not really where you want to be, ever. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's not the best deck. I think Bristly Bill... Oh, there he goes. I was dragging it around too much. It's not the best deck, I don't think, for a go tall strategy. You could make the argument that Roxanne is better in the command zone. You could, like, maybe make the argument that that's what you want to do. I don't think so, but, like, this is where Magic is now, right? Klothys is not where Magic is now. I think Roxanne is a little bit more up to par for what you're trying to do, right? But you can make the argument it might be It could just go in the deck, even. I mean, it could. I don't really have much use for the meteors. What is it? Minsk and Boo was in here for a second as well. And Minsk and Boo, for something that costs more than 4, or really just 3, is also very good. So that's a consideration. It was in here to start, but as I played more and more, I'm like, man, I kind of hope I don't draw Minsk and Boo in my opening hand ever, because I'm probably not going to cast it anytime soon, and it doesn't play really well into the core strategy. If I wanted to do something like that, you could maybe run Fling. If I had Klothys at 20 power, which I think happened a single time, you could fling it and then just go right over your opponent. You don't even need Trample, right? Just send it to the dome. You get hit by a counterspell, well, maybe you're going to lose anyways, I don't know. So there's that. But it's a cool way to play Klothys. It's a cool deck, and it did not seem like I was playing against tier 1, however the new tier thing works. I didn't see Nadu anywhere. That was kind of neat. So, you know, I mean, if that's something that you want to take into consideration when you decide to play something, take that into consideration. It didn't play against, there it is. Didn't play against Nadu. So, with that alone, I can kind of recommend anything. But, yeah, let me know what you thought about this deck. If you have ideas to make it better or worse, let me know. Preferably not worse. Like, comment, subscribe. And don't blow yourself up for July 4th if you're American, because I probably will. See you guys next time.